Welcome to Inside Stories. Hi, my name is Clementina Tsvetanov and I will be your host. And today I have the pleasure to have with me Nazi. She will explain us in a minute who she is. And Inside Stories is a platform where we discuss about how people that have been through insights find ways to empower their life and get more awareness. So today, thank you, Nazi, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So it's a pleasure. So can you tell us a little bit more of yourself, because you're actually from Iran,
Sure.
yes,
Yeah.
which is a country when you were born, which was already in war. So can you tell us a little bit, how was your childhood?
Sure. Thanks for having me and the opportunity to be here. I'm so glad. I was born and raised in Iran, Iran is one of the most mysterious, beautiful countries that you've ever seen, with a very ancient culture. And I had the privilege of growing up there up to the age of 16. And growing up obviously with the revolution, with the war, with so many changes, socially, economically, and politically. We didn't obviously realize this up to the age of 5 or 6, as much as you can remember. But I remember the war. I remember, hearing the sirens, hearing the explosions and stuff like this. And but our parents, they were very educated, and they knew how to protect us psychologically. At least with us in the area where we lived, it was area 7 of Tehran, which was properly in center. So I remember, that the fear that mostly the adults have it. We were kind of confused. We didn't know what was happening. But they would not talk about it much in front of us. But they were protecting us, and that's up to the age of 5 or 6, when me and my mother, we decided to join my grandfather for a while for the summer holidays to Germany, and we take it from there. Yeah.
So, can you tell us, were you feeling any limitation as a child when you were living in this country?
Not having been brought up in a very liberal, let's just say, and non-religious family, fortunately, where the women were the boss in the house and they were the leaders inside the house. Not at all. I did not feel anything. I mean, I remember my grandmother was the only religious one who had a belief, but she never enforced her belief on us, and she would keep that to herself. And she was very educated, and open-minded lady. And I was fortunate enough to be raised by her, and my mother was more like a masculine figure, let's just say. And very, very tough, disciplined figure, having served in the army in Shah's time. She was very structured and disciplined, and she was a top manager in a bank.
How was it in Iran for a woman, right, to be able to have such a position? And I guess she was in an environment where there was also a lot of male figure. How did she manage?
I remember that she had to kind of step into this, being a woman, but at the same time in a very to show extreme, that she was extremely serious, extremely disciplined, very brave, very responsible, and being a manager in a bank. Although there was a hijab, they had to cover their hair, and in the morning they would have inspection, body inspection, to make sure they don't carry any makeup. In the 80s it was very strict back then, not as much as it is now for what women's wear, although it is still. But it was very, very strict times. But she would go in, and she had about 10 to 20 men under her, and usually, she was so serious that as soon as she would step into the office, they would she would delegate. these people.
So
and
she
they
had
would respect
to.
her. They had this level of respect for her. And to be delegated by a woman, especially at that time, where they kind of everything changed culturally, and it became a male-oriented society, and she was this figure, a lion lady.
So she had to all the time step up in this role. Did you ever see her in a like more vulnerable role, or did you always find her in a...
Never. Never. I never saw her, that she would cry, or she always had to be in strong, and keeping herself strong, and being so maybe strict with herself also, that she had to step into this masculine energy in order to be taken seriously, and in order not to be judged as well. We have a society that culturally does judge. Even in Shah's time, that was the case. So yeah, she had to step into that.
So how was it for you as a child? Were you missing the hugs, the kisses, the attention, you were saying your father was away, right? He was in Germany, was born in Iran, but he stays in Germany.
Yeah.
So how was it for you? Did you miss this? Did you feel like you were liking or something?
Yes, it's very interesting you should say that, and I never realized this up until the time that I became a mother. And I kind of decided to be 180 degrees opposite, not necessarily different, but opposite. She could not, because of that role that she had to play, she had to be a mother and a father, because my father was absent, in order to be taken seriously. And she had this role with me, at least, up until when I was a teenager. Then, there was totally lack of emotional attachment. My grandma was more the nurturing one, and my mother was more of a male figure in the house, and the one who's responsible, who's a leader in the house. And my grandma was a leader in the nurturing part and loving parts and cooking and cleaning and stuff like this. So, and to be honest, a strong foundation of our house was my grandmother, that without her help, none of this would have been possible. She had a huge role and full authority in my upbringing, much more democratic than how she brought up her own kids. But I have to say I was her favorite granddaughter, and my mother, she had the privilege of having her, confiding in her, but at the same time, when she would come into the picture about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then she'd bring some work as well for overtime and everything, then I would not see my grandmother anymore. She would be the mother, and she would be, I remember the times only, when we were connecting, when she was studying with me or something, and she had this father role. I didn't have the privilege of having her with emotional attachment as well. It's very, very hard, I think, to balance the masculine and feminine energy, especially as a single parent. She was officially married, but she was practically single mother in Iran.
So how was your life as a child? Because you mentioned that you had a good childhood.
It is.
And still there were the war, the sirens, you had to probably hide under the bed. Or
I don't know, they say that if you only have a good memory of your childhood, maybe in some cases you have normalized it for yourself. I kind of deleted this idea of having a father in my mind, or a male figure in the house, and I saw that the women, very two strong-willed women, and social at the same time, were ruling the house, and everybody was quite scared of them, quite frankly, including me. So it was a good childhood. Whether I normalized it, or actually it was, and maybe from the war, it was. I had the best of both worlds, and it was so much harmony in the house, and there was no mention of money, no mention of scarcity, no mention of lack. That I kind of like, I prefer this. I prefer no couple in a house arguing and fighting about money, about the kids, about this, about about other social things that they were best friends and they did not exist.
And do you feel today you having some anxiety because you were even that you maybe felt protected? Did you experience some kind of anxiety at that time?
About
like
in
we,
what terms?
We have a facilitator in Insight. Is from Israel. And he was also raised in a context where it was not always safe. And for example, if there is like too much noise, like something fall down, he will always be a little bit scared, or because
I was
this
never,
trauma.
funny enough, I was never anxious during the war. I kind of realized that, okay, this is the war, this is what's happening, one day it's going to end. That's how I took it as. I remember my grandma listening to radio in Voice of America, seeing, political things, seeing what's happening and everything. And there was a talk of the war, an analysis, and Iranians, they love to analyze and what will change and what will happen after. And but at the same time, in 80s it was different. It was no, although there was a war, there was no financial pressure. The people, they would gather together, and maybe that kind of sense of community was more comforting. The only time I can remember the first time feeling anxious is when I left home, because for a kid, a teenager that lives home, a 16-year-old, was very naive, in a very close society, protected, in my case, very protected society, suddenly going to this wild world, Wild West, and everything, and not knowing, from being in a bubble, let's just say, to go to the Wild West, then that can be quite anxiety behind. And you're leaving your friends behind, you're leaving your language behind, you're leaving your culture behind. You come into Europe, totally different language, culture, everything. I knew some English from school. Obviously, I hated English. I was skipping classes of English during school. So I would understand, but it was the worst, because you could understand, but you could not talk back. So I could say some words, but that's it. But the language barrier and everything. So the only time I would say feeling anxious or feeling homesick, let's just say, and alone, is leaving home, leaving Iran. And somehow, after so many years, 30 years now, I left Iran. Iran never left me.
It's still in your heart. Can you tell us what is this? It looks like an Egyptian.
Yes. I think the Egyptian gods is inspired by this, and is Zoroastrian, is 7,000-year-old religion that before Christianity, before Judaism, before Islam came by, that Persians, they believed in the sun, that the light always takes over darkness, and this is our motto now, light will always take over darkness. And this old guy here is a wise guy who holds a ring as a commitment, love for the other, or love for your motherland. These rings are the freedom, and at the bottom is the evil. And he says, good thoughts, good words, good deeds, good actions. And I think that's what the religion should be all about. There is no cheating, no stealing, no lying, and not taking anybody else's right, and most of all, respecting each other's culture and religion, and accept each other for who we are, and live in a harmony, really, and in diversity.
So before, Iran was really much about equality, and for women also, and
women,
then now it's
and
the
in
opposite.
ancient times, exactly. In the ancient times, during the Cyrus the Great, the first king of Iran, that he believed that women, they are equal to men. There should be no such things of invasion, racism. Even when he did go and invade, he made the place more beautiful. He never burnt anything, he never took.
So a lot of respect.
Yeah, a lot of respect for other cultures, and actually he freed Israelis from in Babylon, and he freed Israelis, and he gave Israelis home in Israel today.
Mhm.
That they were going through tough time back then, and he gave them home. That's why culturally, actually, we are friends with Israel. And now with the war that's going on, still at the same time, Israel was attacking, and at the same time, people they were doing fireworks at the same time.
Really?
With the bomb. Yeah, that's quite interesting. But yeah, it's only lasted 12 days. So I think people of Iran are very tolerant, very resilient, very patient. Is a history of pain since the Greeks and then the Arabs invaded. The Arab invasion was much worse, and since these people came over, it was the second Arab invasion, I think, and the cultural invasion, changing your identity, changing your right to live, right for expression and everything. So there is hope. There is hope.
So you're saying that people in Iran are very hospitable, and that's not what we look in the
That's
media,
not
right?
what you see. The media wants you to see propaganda and people with lots of beard and a lady with one eye and stuff like this, and that's not the case. The women of Iran and the boys of Iran, men of Iran, they're very liberal, very beautiful, very open-minded, very educated, open to all kinds of languages, cultures, and everything, and extremely hospitable. And in terms of technology and fashion, beauty, and everything, they are top. But the only thing that's missing is democracy, which we are getting close. It will happen one day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you were saying about that you left when you were 16, is that correct?
16, yeah.
Yeah, so you left on your own to UK.
Actually, we came with my mother to Cyprus because it was easier. Because I had to apply as a non-European, I had to apply for a visa for a British student visa, and we met my aunt here, and they
Why
met together.
Cyprus?
Yeah, it was easier and it was close.
Mhm.
We didn't want to go to Turkey because most people they would immigrate from Turkey. They would go to Istanbul, and my mother had heard a lot of bad things about Istanbul. That a lot of Iranians they get ripped off and everything else. Anyway, by the Turks, so they decided to come to Cyprus. We went to Nicosia. We applied for the visa application. We came to Paphos, had a holiday, spent 3 months here. Her husband also came as well. I had the privilege of meeting him. And since there was no male figure in my life, of course it was my uncle back in Iran before, but as a first English person I met, I was my aunt's husband. He came over here. I got to know them because they were going to be looking after me at least for 2 years when I'm studying A-levels, pre-university in a college. And we stayed the summer, and then in the end I got my visa in October, a bit late, 17th of November, we went to UK in 1997.
Oh. And how did you feel? So you're saying it's completely different.
For me, I felt when my mother left and she was leaving the airport and she didn't look back, I think I experienced the first abandonment. I kind of that kind of separation. After that,
Why do you think she didn't look back? Was it to make you stronger?
It was very tough on her, I think. Despite, that she was, all these years she was trying to show that she has it together and so strong. Actually, deep inside, she was very kind-hearted, very sensitive person, and perhaps it was very difficult for her as well, the separation, but she had to do it because 16 years old, I was going to go out, I was going to be wild, I guess. She thought to herself, and I wanted the freedom in the world, and unfortunately some girls, they go out and they never come back, so.
So it was not safe for you anymore in Iran?
She decided it's not safe for me anymore, so it was a different reason, so she had to kind of balance the separation, or being away from me, or rather than me being safe. So, yeah.
And what did you do in UK? You started to study?
I had to study English, academically, and at the same time do my A-levels. Because the language barrier as well, I couldn't do theoretical things. I like biology, I like chemistry, but I couldn't do any of those. So I was like, oh, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to do practical stuff, physics, maths, computing. I was very good at it. Computing, not so much. I did not know much about it, about the codes and stuff like this. But yeah, I chose this specifically because, like my mother, I had got the inspiration for this masculine thing. So I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to kind of step into her shoes of, go in the army and stuff like this and go to RAF. But little did I know that I did this. But when I passed, I got good marks. But when I passed, they said in the interview, they told me, oh, okay, you're born in Iran. So if we tell you, let's say, go and bomb Iran or something, would you do it? I said, no way. And they said, well, maybe that's why, because we want you to be born here, that's why. So you feel more about this country, so then you serve the army here. So that's the reason that career, that dream didn't happen. So I had to go for the second best thing, which was civil engineering, because most Persians, they like it to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer.
So again, it's also again a male, but it's again a male environment, right? Civil
male
engineering.
environment,
How did you feel there?
To be honest, it was not my dream. I had no idea. I just picked it because I passed and it was suited to according to the subjects I chose. I did it for 3 years, but it was 3 challenging years, to be honest, because I was quite surprised actually in England, so open and everything. It was just me and this other English girl who was doing it. The rest, they were boys, and they were bullying us every day that you come here to get married, you have no idea. They were right, actually. They have no idea about roads and bridges and everything. Not about the married part, but about the roads, bridges, and this kind of things. No. Architecture, I would have loved to do it, but I was like, oh, it's going to take 8 years. Oh my God, I'm not going to have. I'm going to spend so much time studying, not for money, but so much time studying. I thought maybe it's too long. Little did I know I'm going to spend too long in England. So it was.
So just to reflect on what you're saying, so you left Iran, where Iran, you were saying in your family, women were the boss, and you go to Europe, and then you feel actually diminished by men, right?
And I was quite surprised. I was like, am I in the right place? Are these people for real? They say to me these days, really, it doesn't happen in 90s. It was in 2000 actually, early 2000 or 1999. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? I was like, okay, all right, if I'm going to be in this kind of environment every day to prove myself that what am I doing here, and this is not my dream anyway, why should I want to finish it? So my mother was devastated when I decided after 3 years I got my bachelor in science in civil engineering. I had 1 year left to finish and I decided not to finish it, and she was devastated. And had I stayed, to be honest, my career guaranteed, maybe not my dream, but career guaranteed anywhere in the world I go. But I said I love traveling. I always love traveling. I'm going to do tourism. Since I was a child, I used to tell everybody I'm going to be a tourist. Everybody used to say, I'm a tourist. Yeah, I'm going to be a doctor, lawyer, and to please them. In Paris, I used to say, no, tourist. So I did tourism, and she was like, oh my God, you're going to be one of those people in the airport with a tour guide, like a tour guide just to show people around. I said, no, it's not like this. You can go to hotel management, hospitality, this kind of stuff. So that's what I wanted to do, yeah. And then after that, 1 year to top it up, I did masters in international marketing, business, stuff like that.
So did you feel that you had to prove always with your mom?
Not with my mom necessarily. She was like, okay, I spend this much money and I'm investing in you. You may as well choose something good. I said, would you want me to do 8 years or architecture? I mean, 8 years is not too long to be far away from each other, And she said, no, she didn't. She left this choice up to me. And she said, but at least finish it. When you start something, you gotta finish it. That's the mentality she had, being an army person. Is a discipline. You gotta finish something that you started. And then if you don't want, don't work with it. Put a certificate on your wall. I said, no, I want to do tourism. I want to be a tourist. That's it. So yeah, she was.
So how did it go about?
It was okay. It was good. And afterwards, with tourism and what I did for my masters, I could work in Cyprus in the hotel. First, I got the experience in UK, about 2-3 years in the hotels industry there, and then I came to hotel industry here. So it wasn't so traumatic as my mom used to think that I would be in the airport with the name of a guy waiting for to show the place. But yeah, it wasn't exactly what she wanted for me, but alright. Yeah. But in terms of pleasing her, she didn't want me to please her. She wanted me to please myself. And there's a famous saying, ye kasi besho, become somebody. I don't know exactly what that means. And it's quite too much pressure from a child or from a young person, especially in your 20s. You don't know what you want to do. You don't even know who you are. You're looking for, I don't know, love or boyfriend or crush or something like this. But anyway, I was focused on my studies, and if I had a choice today or in my 30s, actually in uni, it should happen for young people, I believe, I would have done psychology, definitely. I really inspired by psychology.
Was it something out of like your mom would never consider? Or?
And yeah, she would give me the choice, but she just told me not necessarily be a doctor or lawyer or something like this. But given the history of Iran and what Iran's been through and the pain and the trauma and stuff like this, yeah, psychology I would have really loved to do. Not just in the society, in the family dynamics as well. I think culturally we are a bit of a perfectionist. Sometimes it can go a bit to the extreme. You have to be perfectionist, you have to do things perfectly, especially as a woman. You have to look perfect, do perfect, be a perfect mother, be a perfect wife, and stuff like this. And God forbid if you separate from somebody, oh my God, they would think that you're thinking of something naughty in your mind, or you want to date around or something like this. So it's tough. It's tough culturally as well, as much as the pressure from the government. So it is culturally tough, not just on women, in general. What will people say? People's judgments and stuff like this. And you have to be, it's quite a tragedy actually, and it's not just happening in Iran. I know it happens in a lot of family dynamics that they basically train you to be who you're not. God forbid if you be who you are, or express an opinion, or say no to the older people, still for our generation at least is like this to our older people, they get offended. They get upset. They feel like this is disrespect. This is going against the protocol, the system.
So who Nazi wanted to express and didn't have the chance? What do you think was
I think in England gave me opportunity to I could finally one of the reasons I left Iran is my grandma always used to say, what would people say? What would people say if you go out dressed like that? What would people say if you do this? So I was like, okay, if it's what people say, please, let me go. Okay, I'm going. But other than that, if they ask me, do you want to leave your home and culture and everything behind? To be honest, no, I really didn't want to. I wanted to stay there. But at the same time, I experienced freedom. I had the opportunity of meeting people from everywhere. I only had maybe 1-2 English friends. The rest they were French, Italian, Greeks, people from everywhere. So it was kind of like me traveling everywhere because we were, the same community and living with so many different diversity culturally and everything. And I was accepted in all of them. And it was a great experience. Let's just say.
Would you have lived in UK? What would you? Did you?
I loved the UK. I love London. Of course, I've seen UK recently. It's not unfortunately the same way as how I left it. Mm-hmm. It's changed for the worse a lot. But had I stayed, I would have loved to have a career in London. My dream was, regardless of what my mother's investments here, I didn't want that to keep me back. I wanted to, start my career there, work there, get experience. I really like PR at the time, public relations, given what we studied. When I came to Cyprus, there was nothing but hotels to do anyway, so I had to do hotels, regardless of the tourism that I chose. So, yeah, I would have liked to, have a career in London, get a mortgage, build my own house, maybe after all that get married and
So
have
why
a child.
did you leave? Why did you leave London?
I met my husband in 2004. I came here in Easter for training to visit my mother. Obviously, I had to come 3 times a year, Christmas, Easter, and summer. When I was a student, so I'll come here. I came for a work experience as well for the Easter, April 2005, I think. I came as usual, and I got I applied to several hotels, 2-3 hotels, and one of the hotels in Coral Bay, they accepted my application for just training, working for free training, and for them to write down, and then I would write down my dissertation. So I worked there, I met my husband there, and we were good friends for 2-3 years. Yes, 2-3 years until we got married. He moved with me to London. We worked there for a year and a half, but he decided not to like London at all. And we came here. So we got married here and started work here. Yeah.
So you followed him here?
Yes, and it was also kind of agenda as well. Let's just say him and my mother, they were getting on very much, and my mother liked him. She approved of him. Her approval for me meant a lot when it came to, and I was a bit shocked. I was like, wait, you never approve of anybody, or for me to have boyfriends and all. How come with this one? Oh, I saw that she really liked him. I said, okay, then it's not going to be a problem. So yeah, then we got married, and yeah, I started a life here. But before that, we were very good friends. We were working together, going for drinks. Every time I would come to Cyprus, we would go for drinks. He didn't know even where Iran was. That explains it. Being from Greece, he's from Greece. And so there was after we got married, there was a different story. It was a cultural difference and language difference. I had to talk with my hands and legs and stuff. I couldn't speak a word of Greek.
Yes. So, how was it to become after finally a mother for you?
3 years after our marriage, our son was born. During this time, unfortunately, my mother passed, 2011. 3 years after our marriage, and then we waited another 3 years. Maybe he thought, for me to forget the loss. Of course, during this time, I became a workaholic. I would not talk about it. I would leave home about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, coming back 12 o'clock at night. And we would and he would leave me to it as well. No, he wouldn't talk about it. He would not ask me any questions, why you come late or why you're working so much. But I think it suited him fine as well. I said, okay, I don't want to bother him with this. Usually Iranians, they handle it differently from Europeans. Europeans, they move on quickly, and they say, like, this is part of life. No, we have our own trauma and drama and stuff like this, and we mourn a lot when the person died. But for me, in this case, it was like, maybe I was in a freeze state, and when this happened, I didn't know what to do. It was July 11, 2011. It was the time, do you remember, I don't know if you were here, it was a big explosion in Limassol, in Cyprus, and there was no electricity. And all the powers were cut off. They said, Nazi, go home, we don't need you here, what are you going to do in the office? Go home. I went home and I found her in the house, so I was in a freeze. Ever since, I never talked about it, and I went to work, and I didn't talk about it for good 5-6 years. Pretended, I'm so happy, and until we went to Iran, and it was Christmas 2013. We went to Iran. Nico was my husband. He was a bit skeptical about Iran. He could not tell his parents he's going because they would obviously warn against it. Please don't go. you will get into trouble there. And not knowing where he's going, who is he going to stay with, and stuff like this. So anyway, he knew I had a family there, my uncle is there, my friends are there, my best friends from school are there, and everything. So we went home, we went to Iran, and for 2 nights he did not sleep.
So afraid
For 2 nights he did not sleep. And then we arrived. I told him some words to say. I said, okay, although we married, we inter separately because for official reasons. And then my uncle is
so
there.
So you cannot sleep with your
receive us.
husband there?
Yeah, we could not enter together because he's not. Okay, yeah, it's been late now. But so I said, okay, for official purposes, better not. And we went inside, and then my uncle received us, and then, he had a huge welcome, and he would say it was one of the best trips he ever made. Yeah.
So the people were much more hospitable than
much more receptive, much more hospitable. Of course, it was always protected by family, friends, my friends from school, high school, and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle, he was very protective as well of me and him also, my husband. And he said to me, no, you're not going to travel to Isfahan, to Shiraz, you're just going to stay in Tehran. I was like, but he wants to see. No, I don't want any troubles. And I'm responsible. Does his parents know they're here? Okay, I'm responsible for him. So he did not allow for us to leave Tehran, but we stayed there and we had a very good time. Yeah, it was one of the best times of his life. So he fell in love with Iran and everything, and I think from then he decided to have a child, yeah, after 6 years.
Did you ever thought going back to Iran? Did it come in your mind?
To live?
Mm-hmm.
To live a bit difficult, having married Nico as well. He's Christian, he's from Greece. It's funny, in his visit to Iran, he had the first number he had taken down, it was the embassy number of Greece, just in case something happens. He gets taken for hostage or something, he has the embassy number at least to call. But after we come back, because it was Christmas as well, and it's a Muslim country, and he's in Iran, and he hears Allah Akbar in the square, and it was a bit different. No Santa. Just Santa. Yeah. It was funny.
So, how was being a mother after? So you lost your mom. Did you feel that finally, when she came to Cyprus, she was starting to open up to you, and
she became the total opposite of who she was? I could not recognize her. She had become vulnerable. She had become so emotional, so sensitive. That means all these years, all these things that she kept inside her, suppressed, it came out. And almost to the point of extreme. She was total 180 degrees changed. And she was so expressive and so emotional and so vulnerable that I couldn't believe my eyes. I had a shock, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I was having a shock every time I would come to visit her. And it's very interesting because, Persian mothers, they're very different, and they want to know, especially in my case, that's the only girl abroad and everything. Every day she would call me at least 10 times, just to say what I'm doing. Where are you now? I'm on the road. Where are you going now? I'm in university. Where are you going now? Okay, I'm going to take a shower. Now what's happening? Okay, I'm going out. So who are you going out with? What's happening? They like to dig. And she was worried, I have to say. She was worried. Being a Middle Eastern woman, being a Persian mother, they're so protective, especially the girls. They wouldn't let their girls out of their sight until they get married or something. And she had left me let me go to have a different life. This is what she told me when I left Iran. She said, I want you to experience the freedom, and I want you to be free and not to be suppressed and experience that kind of life. I'm not so sure how her dreams come true, but anyway, in some sense it did come true. I have seen the world and I've seen wonderful people, including you guys, here. So Yeah, it was very interesting. She was like, okay, give me space, okay, oh my God. And then actually that's why I have, still to this day, I have a problem with the phone. I decline calls, I don't see calls, I just block
I know
calls.
Yes. So you like to be.
I avoid it because I either know something bad has happened, or I'm going to get the bad news, or something I'm going to hear that's going to make me anxious. That memory of it. That's why.
Since when do you have this? Since the loss of your mom?
No, when she was alive, she was so anxious. So anxious. I think it was she had a huge separation anxiety. I had it, but I expressed it differently. In the beginning, I was angry with her that why you let me go? Did you even ask me if I want to move or something, or you just decide for me? That's it. And in the beginning, and
you didn't understand that choice.
I didn't understand the choice because I was. We were in the bubble, and then suddenly the bubble broken, and you're off.
It's so funny that you explain like in Iran you were in a bubble because it's so.
It is a bubble, and Iran, unfortunately, beautiful land that's held hostage, is in prison. 85 million in prison. Yeah.
This facilitator that we're having is usually saying security is actually a feeling. It's not about where you are. And you have felt safe, basically, in Iran, even that they were in war. What would you say about it? Is that what you experience?
Well, with Israel, when they attacked.
No. I mean, would you say that for you, safety is a feeling?
Sense of safety, I think the sense of safety, if we used to externalize it and thinking is from the government, from the society, from the economy, blah, blah, blah. But I truly believe now, having been through the journey that I've been through, it is also internal. It is internal. And the anxiety, you kind of feel it here. Your stomach is your second brain. Your brain only thinks, and it tells you to survive and protect yourself. But your second gut is right here. And your anxiety is actually, I don't know whether curse or a gift, it tells you the truth. And usually you should listen to your gut feeling. Which usually most women they tend to ignore it.
Yeah, we're not trained for this. We
are very intuitive.
Trained to listen.
Exactly.
Our brain.
Exactly.
Or what our parents say, what the society.
And listening to your brain is more designed to go into your masculine energy and think logically like a man. But actually, the nature of the woman is being intuitive and going by her heart and by her gut. Because your gut, even I'm telling you, every single person that you meet, your gut is not wrong. It's telling you from the very beginning. It's warning you. It's telling you what you do, what you're about to do, or who you're about to meet. This is wrong what you're doing. But, okay, you want to ignore me? Go with your brain then. That's the most intelligent one that you should listen to, your heart.
This is something that we learn also in Insight, and also what we call the basic self, being able to listen.
Yeah.
And I remember you the first time when you came to this workshop.
Yeah.
You were there with one friend, and what do you think you were looking for? What you got?
I don't know. It was first year of Cyrus school. It was 2021. And there was this English lady, and she was coming to our house for a play date and everything. And she said, Nazi, look, there's on Facebook. Our kids were good friends. And she said, on Facebook, by the way, there's a seminar. A seminar, I never even heard of a seminar. I never been to a seminar before. I heard of seminar before by very nice and very well-known Dr. Azita Sayan. She's operates in LA. And she does seminars. She does not do therapy. She does not believe in therapy. She does not believe in medical things. She talks about love, relationships, and family. And she helps women a lot. And she only does seminars, 2-3 day seminars. So I heard about the seminar. I was like, something like that. I was like, okay, let's go and see. And then, the first person I see is you, obviously with your lovely husband. And I have to say, I kind of fell in love with you. You were so cute. You're so beautiful and attractive. And talking about dreams and ambitions and stuff, I was like, yep, that's it. This is my girl. Yeah.
So, what made you to register? What do you?
You.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, and also what you were saying as well was quite inspiring, and it was aligned with what I was looking for, what I had shut down. Because women, the mistake they make, they think that when you become a mother, you're supposed to shut down your dreams. Your life is not yours anymore. You have to self-sacrifice, which is actually a tragedy. Then your child would tell you, no, I don't want your self-sacrifices. I did not ask, because if the mother or the woman in the house she's not fulfilled, obviously is going to come out somehow. And the kids are very resilient. They read your energy. There is nothing fake about them. Even if they lie, it's because it's to protect themselves. That's the defense mechanism. But they always read their energy. The energies don't lie. And they know exactly who's fake with them, who's real with them. Are you sad right now? Is my mom sad right now? Is she happy right now? And it's like
they're like sponges.
Yeah, like sponges. But I think every child, I don't like the term special, but because or if you tell them intelligent, I heard that, I read somewhere that is quite abuse, because you put such a high expectation for them, and they're like, oh, what if I'm not so? If they make a mistake or fail at something, or they're not good at maths or something, let's just say. Then they will say, oh, she said I was intelligent, my mom, and then I'm failing at this, or I'm not so good at this, so I must be kind of stupid, then she must do it out of love or something. So yeah, the kids are very resilient, I have to say, and they can tell who's real, who's not, what energy, what is the energy of the house, and I had the pattern of my mom. I did, and when we say we're not going to follow our parents' footsteps, our mother's footsteps, come somehow, subconsciously, you're going to step into the patterns that they had, and because you love them or you miss them if they're not present in your life, then you're going to follow through the same pattern, the same thing, self-sacrificing, ignoring your own needs.
So
and
this is what you experience
shutting down
in
your own femininity. Eat, so you eat. I don't wear, so you wear. I'd send you to best school, but me nothing. This kind of cultural thing that we have in our parenting, which is totally wrong. It actually puts a guilt on the child's shoulder, and it puts a burden on their shoulder, and they're always going to have to look back. Is she happy? What is she doing? Mm-hmm. Does she have a life even without me? How is she surviving? How is she coping? So, yeah, the kids, they asking me differently. Yeah.
Did you feel guilty of leaving your son and go to work?
I did for 5 years. Because in Cyprus, 6 months maternity leave you have only, 4 months.
Yeah,
4 months maternity leave, and I was given a very demanding role. And first I did e-commerce, then I did digital marketing. Alongside of it, I was doing customer service and helping with sales with the Iranian market. And then lastly, I did finance control, which I hated it. I truly hated it. And again, once again, it was decided for me. Nobody asked me. I think Greek and Iranian culture, they're very similar. They don't ask you. You just got to do it. What you're told, be a good girl, do it. And I asked them. I said, no, I'm not coming back. I want 2 months extra. I want to be with my baby. And they said, no, you got to come back. And there's no choice. They didn't, no warning about, me losing my job and everything. It was like a family. So they were my second family. And I had to go back, but I absolutely hated it, being the accounts. And now the banks, they have problems as well. You have to justify every single payment. Oh my God, it was like a nightmare. At some point, I was dealing with all markets. It wasn't just Iranian market. I had the Iranian market and the South African market, and so many different markets again, apart from Chinese and Russian, because I could not speak it. I would give it to translators to deal with it. Excuse me. And it was really hard to collect payments, and like a debt collector, and I really hated that position. I was good at it because I kind of learned, challenge myself. Anything you hate, be good at it at least. So I was very good at it, but no. The level of pressure and anxiety, and every time I was leaving Cyrus in school, in the daycare, I was literally in tears, crying. And he was, I don't know if he was in a freeze mode, or actually he didn't have any separation anxiety, he didn't show. But I was devastated to leave him. And it was kind of the work-life balance. It worked for a while up to the age of 5, which should have been the opposite. Most countries, European countries, I think 2-3 years, you have time off with your child. In some countries 6 months, in some countries 1 year, up to 2-3 years, yeah. And then you can go to work paid as well. In Germany, Scandinavia, but yeah, Cyprus 4 months. And that was by the Corona time, 2020 to 2021, I decided no more. The Iranian market had finished anyway. I decided no more, I just want to go home. They were like, where are you going? You know, your son is going to go to school. And no, I'm going.
So now you, using a lot of your time being a mother at home.
Yeah.
How do you feel? And I know this parenting is very important for you. You've been, looking for answers. Why is this so important for you?
I think is partly because I had my mother absent. I would have liked her around more. I didn't have any time with her. She was very responsible and taking her parenting very seriously in a duty-wise, in a masculine way, rather than a feminine way. I didn't have that nurturing or memory of us even going to cinema or going for holiday together. And for this reason, I wanted to be home with him more and, travel with him, see the world with him. He's been everywhere. He's been in Norway, he's been in New Zealand, he's been everywhere. The other, just before we come back, he was in Greece and ordered a mojito, and the Greek guy was shocked. He was like, why is he ordering a mojito? He's just a child. And I was like, he's seen the world. Just bring him a mojito with no alcohol, please. And he's used to this, and it's something maybe I wanted to have with my mother, and I never had the chance. And even when I got back here, I got married, then I had to work. I never truly had her. So this is something that maybe obsessively, and obsession is not good. It can have an opposite effect on the child. I now realize that to be less available as well. He wants me to have my own life, to achieve my own dreams, to take care of myself, be happier, be more fulfilled, and be an educated, ambitious person that I am by nature. Then you gotta be, when you come to this world, you gotta be productive, you gotta be of use. So not that, so every time, and people, the societies just keep poking you. So are you working? What's your job? Are you working yet? And it's like, are you paying for my dinner? I'm okay, I'm in. Why are you shaming me, So yeah, there's a lot of society shame. If you work, they say, why you're not spending so much time with your child? Oh my God. And if you don't work, you're like, okay. So yeah, the work-life balance, yeah, definitely, it's got to be there. To find a legit remote work or do what you're passionate about. I think you got to do what you're passionate about. If not that, then you have to work for the money, for survival. Because to be honest, the past 5-6 years, I didn't work. I've been on a survival mode a lot. A lot. Always worrying about, what next, and my relation with money is very interesting. It's like my mother. My mother, she was hardworking, earning hard-earned money, but so large. She was so she didn't know what budget was. Like when it came to her family as well, she would get the loan just to feed to 20-30 people. And I'm thinking today, why that money she gonna spend it for us to go for holidays somewhere? Domestically, not outside of the country, domestically, which people do. And she had the opportunity to do this, but no. when it came to me and the family and her own family and her siblings, she was so large, and I don't think anybody in the world would do that. And I kind of subconsciously, I take after her, and that's got me into trouble sometimes. That I have until I don't have. And then I don't eat for 2-3 days, and then I have again, which is a bit difficult with a child, because still got to find a way. Luckily, we are actors. But yeah, I am a big spender, and I think when I like to I'm a very self-aware person, and I like to self-analyze, not in before I used to do that in an abusive way or self-critical way or self-blaming way, but now. You got to recognize yourself and who you are before you dealing with the opposite people. It's easy to sit there and criticize somebody else, judge somebody else before knowing who you are. So, I realized, I read somewhere that not being able to hold on to the money or receptive to the opportunities or money or as such is very much to do with the fatherhood. And although my father completely provided with us, he left all his assets, everything behind for us. But his lack of presence probably. I realized this years after a lot of studying into psychology, coaching, and trauma and this kind of things, or childhood trauma that you don't know is inside you. You don't know. It's not something you have a memory of. You just don't know that this happened to you, especially if you don't have a memory of it, if you don't normalize it. If you normalize it, if you like, that his absence. You will have trust issues with men. Never take any delegation from men or instructions. Let's just say that, and that's got me into trouble, professionally and personally. And not being able to hold on to the money. And my friends, they were like, "Are you sure you studied business or something? I mean, the money just slips through your hand." No budgeting. But this is something I got to work on, especially when you have a child. My mother was total opposite, totally responsible, and without budgeting. But she keeps things in order, more organized than me. I'm more all over the place.
So this is something I always notice in you. That it's like, you are aware of, where you need to work
my
on.
flaws.
Yes, and it's good to have this awareness, because this is the first step, right? To move toward actions.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say is one thing that insight bring you to do in your life today?
Insight, it gave me, having met you guys, and I think that, if you like to elevate somehow, is not that, in a lot of ways, I used to let the past hold me back, the memories of the past hold me back, especially in relationship to my mother. And every time I do get disappointment in relationships, even with my son or something, I find him missing in my life. I would think that, if she was right here, right now, I will refer to emotionally. But other than that, having said that, the insight that I had, the people who are like-minded, that they elevate you, and you can grow together, and automatically, I think you will start to have the hope, and automatically those habits that you had developed before, of course, it takes a lot of inner work. Your friends cannot do it for you. Nobody in the world has the responsibility of your happiness.
It's not about having a seminar.
Exactly.
You have to practice after the tools.
To implement this, because otherwise it's just words or some theories, and you will forget all about it. I never, in the inside, I had the opportunity of. I had always this stage fright. I didn't think I could speak in front of a camera or on a stage or in front of a bunch of people, but I lost this fear automatically. I felt like I'm in a safe place, so I'm in a safe space to be able to express myself. Because, with the people around you, you kind of feel it. Again, is your gut telling you, okay, with this person, the conversation is not flowing, maybe be careful what you say. But in other cases, you can be yourself finally. So it's okay and it's not a place. Although I was like, oh, okay, am I this thing that I'm saying this? Am I going to be judged? I was talking about anxiety and this kind of stuff, postpartum depression and everything like, in front of all these people. And but then again, I thought, no, I'm just going to go with the flow and do it. But yeah, implementing the habits and especially recognizing your bad habits and implementing it, yeah. But you cannot, I don't think, it takes inner work. Your morning routines are very important, your meditation, your mindfulness, staying present. And also, I think one thing, the best diet you can have is not just stopping overthinking, because it's the overthinking that causes anxiety and depression here, not the opposite. It's here and then it goes there. And you have it already there anyway. Because it can take over all your life and you can become very addicted to it and addicted to the pain actually. And but you cannot do it alone. You gotta surround yourself, but you gotta be ready. Until you're not ready, you're gonna keep isolating yourself as if you deserve to
So you
to
felt
go
that
through the pain.
Yeah. So finally,
And you don't want people to see you in that pain because they're not going to accept you, obviously, or you're going to push them away somehow. So you got to be ready. And when you're ready to step out of your comfort zone, if you like, then yes, then you can elevate with people who are like-minded with you, not higher than you, not lower than you, like-minded with you, and you can do different things, but you can exchange ideas, and those habits automatically they kind of go away. I think without the networking, it's a bit difficult doing it alone. Especially parenting is a journey alone. It is a lone world today. It's very, I think one of the challenges we have today is very shallow world, very narcissistic world. Everybody's looking for money, a house, car, Lamborghini. Okay, if you, to me, Persian is very spiritual culture, and spiritual culture doesn't mean the money is bad, doesn't mean the rich person is bad, doesn't mean the rich person is a bad person, depressed, or the money is a misery, so a source of misery for you, which I had this mindset for a very long time. That's why I would push the body away, because I thought all the source of misery, my separation from my family, from my motherland, it was because of the money that came to our life. But that's not the truth. That's actually to make your life comfortable. But a lot of people use it as a weapon for control. A lot of people use it to abuse themselves. A lot of people, they use it for the good, and they distribute to the people in need as well. So it depends, through, as we said the other day, through what lens we look at it. We look at everything.
And the way I see what you're saying is that one thing that you experience is that finally you can deserve. You don't need to put other.
Receive it.
Yeah, to receive. You don't need to put other in a pedestal or yourself. You can just be on the same level.
Yeah.
And finally, you can express yourself and be yourself. That's.
And I can say I was privileged enough. I was from a family that financially I was whole. We left for a different reason. We didn't come here for work, for economic reason, or whatever. But just to be able to, not even for cover, not to cover your hair and everything, because that's the real freedom. I wish that was the only problem in Iran. There's much more serious problems there. Covering yourself is the least of it. If it's a conservative country, you can go and cover yourself and you can respect that, it's fine. And even in society here, if I see somebody cover themselves willingly, as long as they're willing, they're not forced, it's by their own choice, there's nothing wrong with that. But I was whole financially, but if you have a poor mindset, slip away opportunities. You give your job away, you give your money away, you give your assets away. You can have a victim mindset as well and say it was taken away from me, but in the end you let it happen as well.
It's remind me again, this facilitator from Israel was saying that inside finally he realized that he deserved to be happy. And he deserves to receive.
Deserve to receive. And it's not a curse, it's not a bad thing. It's just there to make your life more comfortable and also help others maybe. because I think it would be a bit of an empty life if you just think of yourself and not think of others. And I think the pain and your trauma actually teaches you how to come out stronger. And once you start to think of others as of the box and compare yourself with somebody who's less privileged than you, perhaps, then it kind of and help them also. Then you don't feel so alone. You don't feel so misfortunate. That's okay. You don't see only yours. You see the others as well, and help them too.
So it helped to change your filters.
Yeah.
And I remember you were in the workshop. You were afraid also to talk in public, and today you're doing the podcast. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's something I can really connect.
Exactly. And I connected with you a lot from the very beginning. You, I think, you one of the things, 2-3 elements I like about you. You're very patient and very calm, very consistent. You don't give up. And I think, given your experience and also in practice as well, you learned to keep going and turn your pain into power. And I think that's very powerful and very inspirational to do, to turn your pain into power. And just because you have a trauma or certain unfortunate events doesn't mean it will hold you back for the rest of your life. In Farsi we say, in these books, this will pass too.
Yes.
This shall pass too.
And it's not about what's happened to you. It's about what you do with what's happened.
And then you realize, I'm not alone. There's so many other women going through the same thing, with the relationships, with the parenting, with being judged, with being unfair, and their position, they have to adjust themselves, position themselves in the world with so many expectations, sometimes very unrealistic expectations. I think the women today, they have it much harder than the previous generation, because the previous generation, maybe in, 50s, 60s or whatever, their job was to look after children and stuff like this. Now, I think, and we modernize it, that she has to be the balance of masculine, to work outside 9 to 5 and then come home, look after the kids and then cook and then clean. There is a lot. And
and that's why also now women doesn't feel also the necessary sometimes to have a man at home.
And that's why they are on edge all the time, and the roles get reversed, and it could be two masculines under the same house or two feminines. And roles get reversed and things get confused, and then the kids get confused and they're like, who's the man, who's the woman here, what's going on, who's the boss? There's no boss, it's equal. But usually when the man tells you 50-50, you gotta run, because I realized that a lot, for many years, women, they get accused that you brought him up like this, or the upbringing of the kids and the household, and also the career and her happiness is 100% her job. Correct, it is her job, but what are you bringing to the table? So I think it's very much dependent on the man. If the man and men, they have it hard too. They cannot express their feelings, their emotions. Men don't cry. Message that they cannot cry in society everywhere. If they have a loss, they cannot express themselves. They may be confused with that they have if they have a higher feminine energy than a masculine energy, automatically they get judged. So they cannot express the emotion, and for that reason they suppress a lot of pain and emotion that they have. And sometimes they get confused too. What is my role here? Where do I stand? What can I bring to the table? And but the men who decide to go and work on themselves, which is only 10% of them. Usually the men, they don't go and seek help or seminars or these kind of things. They know everything. They're the boss, they're the ego, whatever. But the 10%, they're willing to work on themselves. I'm willing to change. I'm willing to learn. And not just about achievements financially, but about, because it takes, for a woman to be happy, a man, he should, if he's worked on himself and if he's willing, emotionally spiritually, psychologically, to connect with her, and financially, which is a lot, to make a household happy. Because when you take care of what's wrong with taking care of a woman, because when you take care of a woman, she will be in her feminine energy, she will be more submissive when it comes to the relationship, and also she will have her career growth and everything as well in her masculine energy, and things will be balanced. And I think it's the job of a man to make the household happy, then the wife is happy, and of course the children are more balanced
They
as well.
say happy wife, happy life.
Happy wife, happy life. It's true, it's true. But men, they don't realize this. I think society makes a huge mistake to dictate to us and gives this message that everything is on the woman, and that's not true. And that's why when the relationship breaks down, then the first person who gets punished is the woman, or she gets blamed. Yeah.
So
And they automatically, they're like, oh, okay, so you decided this, so automatically they say, okay, you separated, so you should be happy now then, yeah? But no, she thought about this 2-3 years before she make a decision to do this. She didn't wake up one day to leave. She thought about this 3 years prior, before she. And when the woman leaves, she usually leaves for her peace.
Yeah.
Men, they live for another woman. Women, they live for their own peace, inner peace, which is much more valuable to her. Because if you stay long and get disrespected over and over and over again, and your self-worth goes lower, lower, and lower again, what will be left? She has no energy for herself, let alone the kids, let alone the house, let alone her dreams, career. Which one were you talking about?
So this is like an ongoing process anyway,
It is.
always
It is.
working on ourselves, right?
It is. And it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's an international rule. But yeah, it's just a misconception. What we've been taught, yeah. But no one prepares you financially. I've done business in university, but when it comes to real life, in real life, university, schools, this kind of stuff, they don't prepare you for your finances. They don't prepare you for your real life, for relationships, and forget about it. Parenting, you got to know by instinct from generational, and quite frankly, sometimes you pass on these generational curses. You say you're going to be the opposite of your parents, and you're not. You have 3 different parenting styles. Either you become a strict one, or the easygoing one, too submissive, too passive, and you let the kid to do whatever they like. Both case scenarios, you hurting the self-esteem of the child. To keep just like you have to keep a work-life balance and feminine, masculine energy as a woman, as a mother, or a father. Both, you need 2 people. It takes 2 people to tango with the children. To keep a democratic style is very, very, very tough. You have to balance.
Yeah, the
There
balance.
there is
harmony
rules, but I'm also here for you if you want to talk, if you have needs, because children, that's the only people that they should have needs. We as adults, if we say we have needs or we need each other, that's usually from a psychological lack. That's a psychological addiction. Somewhere there's a mother and father one there, for sure. But the children, they're the only ones with needs. And so this old saying of children should be seen but not heard, totally wrong. They should be the center, right center attention, not in there. If he or she is in her room and she's not coming out, then you're doing something wrong there. The dynamic is not good. And so they hide themselves in the bathroom or in their room. Or we think that they are being disrespectful or they lie. No. It's the opposite. Is something that we do, is the dynamic that we create. It makes them lie. It makes them to hide things, and it makes them to hide their authentic self, which is a tragedy, really, because it would take them years to find that authentic self again. A lot of inner work.
Looking for, being able to express themselves.
Express
again.
themselves and not being invisible and not being. Some of them they end up to be pleasers. Others they shut down. Others, most of our worries is that one day they will go out and have drugs. But listen, if you respected them and they You make your boundaries clear, but I think the best inheritance that kids can have for their future is their self-esteem. Apart from skills, AI skills or languages and everything, self-esteem. They don't need the land from you, apartment from you, or properties from you, nothing. The rest they can build themselves. But as long as they don't, if you bring up somebody, a child who's kind, empathetic, and respectful, and he has self-respect and self-love, then you've succeeded, and they would still want to have a relationship with you as their parents, not to escape, not to run away, not to not look back, or keep looking back feeling guilty. Any of these ones is wrong. It's totally wrong. And we are responsible for that. Certainly we're not responsible for the pain we carry from our mother and father, and if they could have done nothing, bless them, either they were absent or they had to work, so it would turn into neglect or somehow emotional neglect, right? If you think about it in terms, to define it in terms today. But what could they do? They were just following what the society was asking them to do, or what people are saying to do. They could not have done it all, or follow certain patterns from generational grandmother and great-grandmother and great-great-great-grandmother, and it passes down. But yeah, it's up to us, to all of us, recognize this, because all our energy towards life and everything, it comes from these two people. They are our own foundation, mother and the father. No grandmother. The grandmother, the job, what else can she do apart from cook for you and watch you?
So what could you give? So thank you, Nazi, for
It's okay.
this interview.
Sorry.
Can you give us one tip you can leave, like something you have experienced yourself that you can share, that you would recommend, like to become an example in the parenthood?
Yeah, parenthood. Well, certainly being present. Some of us, we think that playing is a waste of time, but actually it's not. It's actually because our biggest challenge is the screen. We want to get them off the screen. We want them to be successful, read a book or something. But I think to discipline kids, you got to discipline yourself. You have to reparent yourself. Discipline yourself, eliminate all your bad habits, or at least some of your bad habits. It's a daily work. You cannot wake up one day and say, I succeeded, I'm a perfect parent today. No. We make mistakes. We need to be able to apologize. If you want them to be apologetic, take accountability. We need to take accountability for our own actions. Just because we are older and wiser and few meters taller than them, we do not own them. We don't have the right to control them. We don't have the right to take them, rob them of their authentic self and turn them into something that you want them to be, to make yourself as a parent look good. That's for the image, that's a lie. Then he has to ask questions to himself, what did I want in the first place? I don't remember. And without realizing it, that they do try to, because they read our energies and they have nobody else to turn to, nowhere else to go. We are their breadwinners, we are, they look up to us, we are their gods, right? So that's why when there's a conflict in a house or a negative energy or whatever, it's very important to tell them that this is not their fault. And they do take it personally. They take everything personally. They think that if you're struggling financially, that is their fault. If you're struggling relationship, is their fault. Everything. Am I not lovable? Am I not worthy?
Really an open
Am I not
conversation
enough?
with them.
Am I not enough for you? Sometimes we're not in the mood. We are in a mobile, or we're doing our work, or you have a project to do. Excuse me, and they take a person. They're like, am I not enough for you? Do you not see me? Am I not worthy? That's how it starts. So I'm not saying to compensate for the last time, which we all do, right? With the gifts, with the trips. In my case, if I'm not present, and I'm like, okay, let's take you. Where you want to go for a trip now, or where do you want to go? Whatever. But also, what I actually learned was I'm always in justifying kids, and I'm their lawyer, because all of us, we have our inner child active, And if you self-aware enough, then you realize even up to the point of age of 40, 50, 60, your inner child is still active and you're still acting like that child. And as you get older, even more maybe. So it's important to put ourselves in their place, and then, you know, respect them, respect their boundaries, give them their space, give them the rules, guidance. We just water them. It's the garden, you just water. You don't go and change it. You don't go like a carpenter, start digging to change the whole shape and size and whatever. And just to accept them as who they are. And they need to smile, they need to be themselves. And you got to be their best friend as well as their parent. They got to understand, okay, there is a boundary. They have to respect you as a parent, but at the same time, you can also be their best friend. Although if you're not present or you're not in a mood or you're busy or something, it's not reflection of them. It's just you're actually busy.
Thank you, Nazi.
No problem. Sorry.
So can you tell us just one sentence in Persian?
In Persian?
Yes.
What shall I say?
Whatever.
عاشقتم دوست دارم. That means I love you and I like you very much.
Thank you, Nazi.
Boost.